We're back.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Fire the Cannon. I'm Rocky.
And I'm Megan, and we are Fire the Cannon.
I had it all set up, but then I didn't even push the button. So I'm a mess, Megan, because I've been up since 1 a.m. this morning. You know how like if you have a really early flight, you just don't sleep well because you're awake all night. Well, I'm also awake coughing all night because I'm at the last of this mold crap in my throat from this allergies being so bad. So I didn't sleep well, and then I was up all day and I tried to sleep on the plane, but normally I crash on the plane, did not sleep well, and so I'm just trying to go. So, but we're
just kind of like sleepwalking right now, huh?
Yeah. So if I have to like mute myself to hack the other half of my lung up, then that's where I'm at.
Anyway, I mean, that's why you've got two. That's why I've got two, right?
I have a spare lung. I can like hawk one up. I have a little cough drop in my mouth to like try to help not be so gross. But anyway, Megan, how are you doing? I'm in Mexico, in Puerto Morelos. Everybody knows.
Yeah, I mean, look, there are worse places for you to be sick, right? Like,
yeah. Oh, I'll be fine by tomorrow because we don't have all the mold.
Right. Yeah, no, I've been good. It's just been crazy. I've mentioned we've had this big product launch that was coming up. So we got everything in order, and that's good to go. And we're getting some feedback, and it was kind of cool today. Like, got some feedback from my boss. I gave him some pretty big pushback a couple months ago about like how we were going to launch this thing and how we were talking about stuff, and we needed to be prepared for a few things. And we went back and forth on it. I think I caused kind of a big stink, but then today it was kind of rewarding because he reached out to me. He was like, "Hey, just wanted to say thank you for making us rethink that." He's like, "It's been right on track, like right on target." Yeah, so that was kind of cool to hear. Like, you know, you stick your neck out a little bit, and I'm like, "Look, man, I promise you, like, I'm not just being a crazy person." So it was good to get that feedback back, right?
That's good. Let's say hello to CB. Hello, ladies. Forever burnt. Hello, girls. Hello.
It ain't burnt, it ain't turnt. I like it.
It ain't burnt, it ain't turnt. All right. So yeah, I'm in Puerto Morelos. We've been doing well, I'm here because we have some stuff to get done here at the house, and we have a little bit more construction happening here, just the last of the renovations. But it's kind of fun because this is like the most dead I've ever seen this town. Like it is I took some videos of the beach completely empty, but actually it was raining really heavy this morning. So it was like that cool after rain breeze. It was almost a little bit chilly in September here. It's so nice. It's really beautiful, and everything's empty. So you can just walk up anywhere and sit right away.
That is very cool. But to be clear, I want to be really clear. What your version of chilly and cold is very different from what
when it's
most
breezy
people
off the
think
ocean and it's 70 degrees. That was a little bit nice. It was really nice. Like you're in the air conditioned outside. It was really great. Great news, Megan. They announced the performer this weekend, which is huge because Nadia and I love Bowling for Soup. Did you see that? Bowling for Soup?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Concert. Oh, so many great songs. If you first people say who's Bowling for Soup, and then you're like Stacy's mom. Like everybody knows these songs. 1985, and of course Longhorns. Come back to Texas. Like there's so many great songs they have. So if you go listen to put Bowling for Soup, and you're like, okay, I know that song. I know that song. I know that song. That's a good group. That's a huge get. I think that's a big get. Texas band from Denton, Texas. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So I'm excited for that. Nadia and I are definitely going to walk up the hill to that show.
Yeah, it'll be good. I will say this. We are definitely the target demographic recently for Longhorn City Limits. I feel like.
Yeah. Well, like last week, I didn't even know who that guy was. Oh, no. A big boy I knew. The week before, I didn't know who it was. I think it was
Corey Morrow?
Never heard of him.
He's a big deal. Yeah,
Never
well,
heard
that's
of him.
you. That's a you thing, not
was that a country singer?
Yes, Corey Morrow's a big deal.
Never heard of him. I'm sure he's huge, and I'm sure everybody loved it. No idea who that was, but I knew who Big Boy was, and I know who Bowling for Soup is. Anyway, so tonight, Megan, we're going to kind of keep it a little bit shorter. I'm traveling. You've been crazy busy, so we'll cut the show a little bit short, but we're going to cover still everything we need to cover. We're going to give some love to the what's happening around Texas women's sports. First, we'll start with the women, a little bit of basketball love, volleyball love. Got to give them some love. We're going to talk about the good, bad, and ugly like we like to do to wrap up last weekend, UTEP, that show. But then we're going to look ahead to some positivity and what we really want to see at this game against Sam Houston State. If you can't dominate against an 0-3 Sam Houston State team with a coach on the hot seat, I don't know what to tell you, Megan. We'll set our level of fire alarm alert. Like where are we at with that?
I like it.
Okay, and then we'll kind of recap the craziness of last weekend's college football games. We made some predictions. These games are all over the place. There were so many exciting games. So we'll talk about how that shook up the top 25, and then mention our little NFL teams. Then we'll end on a little positive, fun top story because we like to share a little positivity to wrap it up. So Megan, let's talk about first. We want to give a little bit of love to the women's basketball team. They have so I went ahead and got season tickets this year. It's only $100 and you can get like 25, 30 games, however many. It's a lot of games you get. Yeah. So it's $2 or $3 a game. It's crazy. And you can get, there's still a few tickets all around. And Vic Schaefer tweeted that they've sold 6,000 season tickets to Texas women's basketball this year.
That's awesome. Look, we talk about it all the time. We like to give the flowers, right? But I feel like women's sports is kind of having its moment right now. You know, watching women's basketball certainly has been coming on. We're going to talk about volleyball here shortly. You know, softball's gaining in popularity. It's a ton of fun to go to these events. And I love seeing the fans embrace it, and I love seeing everything getting going. So yeah, that's awesome. I mean, absolutely killing it. I kind of wonder, like, at what point are we at a point right now, Rocky, for this year right now? Now, I think there is going to be a lot of excitement about Sean Miller and what he's going to bring and his Texas a sleeper team. But I kind of wonder, like, is this going to be a situation where the women are selling out more season tickets than the men are for a little bit? Right? Because there's still that kind of question.
Know.
Like,
the women are exciting. They're very talented. But anytime there's a new coach and new players and this roster is really exciting, I think the men and the women are both going to be exciting basketball, and it's going to be fun. And as long as they win big games and give people things to cheer for and things to go spend their money on, they will be there, right? It's going to be fun. Yeah. There's going to be some great rivalry matchups. We looked at the calendar last week with the schedule they put out, and you can go find it online, the women's basketball schedule. There's going to be some good games here at the Moody, and the men, too, have an exciting schedule. So let's give a little love to the women's volleyball. We talked about them last week, that crazy game that you and I were at, the Stanford game at the Moody Center. That was the biggest crowd in Texas, the state of Texas history for women's volleyball, right?
Yeah.
So they beat number 12 Creighton, number 8 Wisconsin. They beat Rice. They beat 6 Stanford. That day we were there. And then last week when you and I were on the air, they were playing again at number 4 Louisville. And after we got off, we got to watch the end of that wild game because we didn't almost die already on Sunday. They had to do it again against Louisville.
Yeah. Again, this Texas volleyball team is so exciting to watch. They're actually playing right now too,
right?
Up at TCU. Yeah. So you know, if you want high intensity games, you want like just crazy action, volleyball is the way to go, man. It has been nuts. Now they have, I want to say it. I mean, they're undefeated, right? I want to say it's
6-0.
Yeah. So, and it's at least 5 of those wins came against top 10 teams.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, because they also
4 of them were top 5.
Sunday they beat Arizona State, number 9. So they have 4 top 12 wins.
4 top. No, that's not right.
5
it's 4
top 12 wins.
There you go.
Of their 6, 5 top 12 wins of their 6 wins, and the other one was at Rice.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. It's 4 top 10 or 4 top 5 wins, 5 top 10 wins, and then
I have 12, 8, 6, 4, 9. So 4 of them are top 10, and the other one's 12.
Maybe they've dropped a little since then.
Yeah, huge.
Anyway, regardless, doesn't matter. This team is really, really fun to watch. They might give you a heart attack every now and again, but there's some power there. They're really, and you can see it, Rocky. You can see when they gel and when they really are just communicating well, playing together well. It is going to be hard to stop this Texas team. I don't know how. Somehow I ended up on a Nebraska. I wandered into Nebraska volleyball Twitter somehow one of these days, and it was kind of cool. Like, Nebraska hates Texas. Like, I think that's fair. Most people do. There's a healthy respect, but you know, they're still pretty bitter about the Big 12 stuff. But it was kind of cool to see. And Nebraska is damn good. They're
They're
again,
still number one, right? They're still,
they're
Texas
a
is two.
historically good volleyball team.
Who do you think
Always.
has the better resume right now? I think it's hard to say Texas doesn't have a better resume right now.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think Texas volleyball has a slightly better resume, but you know, Nebraska came in as number one, and it's
And
hard
until
to
they lose a match, right?
that part. It's hard to take that number one away from Nebraska. It's not like they've been playing a bunch of slouches, right?
Right.
So yeah, but it was just interesting to see it kind of from behind the enemy lines and seeing what they're saying. And they've been really respectful about Texas. I saw a few of the ones going down those Twitter rabbit holes saying, oh, you know, kind of worried about I hate to say this out loud, kind of worried about Texas this year.
I mean,
I'm like,
when we
all
talk
right.
college football, we're going to have to say kind of worried about Oklahoma, kind of worried about the Aggies,
Look,
kind of worried about Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
So, I mean, yeah, it was just kind of cool to see that. So, you know, hope they keep rolling. It's a ton of fun to watch. So shout out to Coach Jarrett Elliott there and all he's doing rebuilding this team. And Carrie Spears, man, Marcus Spears' daughter, she's killing it. She's a ton of fun to watch. So
I love that he's embracing being a Longhorn dad, right?
Yeah, and he was shouting him out on a show that, like an NFL show that he was on. So that's pretty cool. Like,
that's
getting
great.
that. Listen, Texas is a big deal.
He knows how hard they work, and he knows that they've been in these really intense moments that could go either way. The way they held on at home, and then at this game last Wednesday night, the way they had. You know, they dove into the stands to try to keep the play alive, and that was a turning point in the game. And they were down like 5 points in the fifth set. It was crazy. So like you mentioned, they're playing right now against number 9 TCU, so you can have that game on in the background and watch that game. It's at Gregory. They have 4 games in a row at Gregory Gym. They were just had Arizona State at Gregory. They're here tonight. Friday night, they have Baylor, number 21, Gregory. And then next Wednesday, they start SEC play with Vanderbilt at the Greg. So there's going to be lots of volleyball opportunities to support if you're in Austin at Gregory Gym, home of the Texas Volleyball. So love to the ladies. Good luck tonight against TCU, number 9. That would be another top 10 opponent. Let's go.
Yes, it would.
All right.
Hey, Big Chris, thanks for joining us, man. We appreciate you. Thanks for being here.
Oh, yeah. Hey. What's up, ladies? All right. So let's get into it, Megan. We have to talk about this UTEP game, wrap it up, and look ahead to this big weekend of Texas football. I actually am flying home. I don't know why I did this to myself, but I'm flying home Saturday afternoon. So I'm going to be cutting it close. And I know my flight is just going to pull in right on time. No,
you know what? I'm not saying anything. I'm not doing that announcer jinx. I'm not putting that juju out into the world.
Bowling for
I'm just
soup.
gonna say,
there.
I'm excited to see you when you get to the tailgate. I'll just say that. All right, we'll leave it at that.
I will be running right by you on the way to bowling for soup.
Right. Hi, bye. Thanks for the beer. Okay.
Thanks, let's go. No, I will be just fine. Plenty of time. No worries at all. I'm coming in for the game Saturday. All right. So let's wrap up kind of last week. There's the good, the bad, and the ugly. There was unfortunately more bad and ugly than there was good, but there was good. And that's what we want to, we want to look forward, right? I think there's been enough people dogging on this team. And, you know, even Mac Brown's like, you got to build them up. It's time to build them up. So let's look at what was the bad. Then what was the ugly, and we will end on some positive notes because there were some positivities. All right, Megan, I'll let you start with the bad, and then I'll go with the ugly.
I appreciate you letting me start with the bad because I know I will wear this burden.
This is your bad, so
this is, and I will wear this burden, and I will say it, and I will be the broken record. Rocky, it was the penalties again, right? This was another thing, and again, look, I've got theories on this. We'll talk about this a little bit farther as we get into it, but Texas has to get right. They have got to play smarter, cleaner ball because I feel like those mental mistakes, those mental lapses, just, you know, some silly stuff here, just real basic fundamentals, just not focusing, not playing clean is causing issues everywhere else in the game. So yeah, that's certainly something, again, not going to harp on it too much. We know it's bad. We don't love saying it until it gets fixed. So get those penalties fixed, man. That was just bad. That was just bad.
Another 7 for 78. Yeah.
What was that?
I said another 7 penalties for 78 yards.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if we're going to try to see the silver lining, it's less than 112 yards penalties, right? But again, look, that's just not a stat that Texas can't afford these kind of mistakes moving forward. We can't afford those kind of mistakes going into SEC play. We can't afford those kind of mistakes because it's putting Texas far back behind the line. It's making, putting you in bad and long situations that, quite frankly, when we talk about this offense here in a minute, it's just the offense isn't clicking enough right now to overcome those kind of issues. So
Right.
you got to help yourself everywhere you can. And certainly putting yourself behind the sticks with just boneheaded penalties, that ain't helpful. It ain't helpful. So, Rocky, what do you have? Do you have a bad that you want to
No,
add?
I'll jump to the ugly, Megan. And
All
this
right.
is the same bad and ugly as we had last week. And it doesn't feel like, even though Coach Sark said, you get what you emphasize. There's consequences that practice for these things
Yeah.
now. We're going to really address these. The penalties they were improved, but still not championship level. Standard is a standard, right? Also, what is not championship level or standard is a standard is, again, third down efficiency on offense, right? There was a point where Texas was 0 for 12 on third down. And against UTEP, a team that they were favored to beat by 40 plus points. And again, they're going into this Saturday. We'll talk about Sam Houston State. Again, 40-point favorites. I don't know who would put money on Texas to cover 40 when we haven't even scored 40 all year. This team I don't know what, and I know Sark said, well, you have, like you mentioned, the penalties. It's all a cycle. If you put yourself in, long down and distance or things, and just some third down, great play calls. It's not the play calling, like the great play calls with players wide open and Art struggling to hit those players with the ball, or the issues with, establishing some kind of pressure, like offensive force on the line, or holding blocks, or things that would have gotten you a first down in those situations. So they ended up 5 for 16 on third down. So they got some third downs going towards the end, but not, it was 0 for 12 to start the game against UTEP. And then, then they're putting themselves in fourth down situations. They were only 2 for 5 there. So this is not going to win on the road. It doesn't matter. Like, we know we're not playing Florida. I know we're not playing Vanderbilt. I know we're not playing those teams yet. But this will not win on the road. And even Arch said it in his press conference. We know this isn't going to win games later. Like, we've got to clean it up. But it's a combination of the decision making, the finishing the plays, some effort, some execution, and then just some focus and attention. It feels like there's. And the hard thing to do, though, is how much of it is this really a team? We know Wisner was out. We know Baxter went out with a hamstring issue the first play of the game. I hope he's okay. And fortunately, against Sam Houston State, they can rest him. But that was frustrating. Like, how much of this is really the team? DeAndre Moore was resting, concussion protocol. So a lot of, shifting around the O-line positions. How much of that is really the offense? And also they're not getting to work together because there's so many issues, people missing right now.
Yeah, I'm glad that you pointed that out. So that is something that I think we tend to forget. Like, we see it's UTEP, right? We see it's Sam Houston State. We have the upcoming game against, or it's San Jose State. We've got the upcoming game against Sam Houston. I will say this. I think it can't be overlooked that we are missing some key pieces to this offense. There's no question there. Right. I think we are learning how important Wisner is and how much of a leader he is on that team, and how important it is to have him on the field. So I'm glad, on one hand, look, if again, seeking the silver lining here, I'm glad that we're getting him some rest. They got a little banged up. Let's get him healthy. Let's get him in a good place. Let's get him okay. Same thing with Baxter, right? Like, he came out the first, I think it was the first play, wasn't it, Rocky?
First play of the game, yes.
Yeah, it was rough. So let's get him rested. Let's get him some time, get him healthy again. But exactly to your point, now this is going to be a mix of like bad and ugly and some good. The O-line has had a lot of criticism, a lot of it deserved, right? What I will say is, exactly like you pointed out, they're moving a lot of guys around. I don't know if you guys listen to Third and Longhorn. They're absolutely incredible. You should. They give some great insights. I was listening to them this week going in, kind of that post-game recap. And there were just, with that O-line, there were some bad plays. They were saying it just looks like these guys aren't communicating, they aren't talking well. They're not, but to your point, Rocky, again, these guys haven't necessarily played in those positions, taken a ton of those snaps left and right. They are kind of a young O-line. So they're still kind of figuring it out. We're still plugging and playing a little bit. And I will say the good part of this is we're getting guys really valuable snaps. There's no replacement for in-game snaps, right? Actual game snaps. So yeah, if we
Yep.
need to move guys around, and we've talked about this with former players, we've talked about this with a lot of our guests. Coach Flood knows how to coach them up. And it's important for Flood to give these guys experience at the different positions at O-line. So, yes, I will say they haven't looked great. I'd like to see a little bit more out of DJ Campbell. He's the guy with the most experience on that O-line. Let's be that leader. Like to see some of these guys just step up. We're whiffing on some stuff. We're missing just some pretty basic coverage on some things, but they'll get there. Right? That communication will get better the more that they do this. And once these key pieces come back, I think we see that the O-line will look more consistent. Now, one good thing I still want to point out with the O-line, just like we've been saying from Ohio State, just like we've been saying from here, like they are giving Arch time for the most part. There's a few busted plays, there's a few missed blocks, but there are plenty of plays that I can count 5, 6, 7 seconds, right? They're giving him time. So the good thing about that is despite we know we have a lot to clean up on the O-line, we know that play could be exponentially better, but they're still doing good. They didn't give up any sacks this game, right? So again, kind of good, bad, and ugly all wrapped in one. So
Yeah, my concern is this is the opportunity to be really building confidence and really having things firing when you go into SEC play. They're going to have the bye week and then go into SEC play. This is where you should just be ready to go, and you've got a rhythm, and you know how your rotation's working. You've had 3, glorified scrimmages, should have been glorified. I mean, if you're favored by over 40 points a game, these should be glorified scrimmages, but they are real tests for this team. And they're not, these teams are coming into Texas feeling competitive, feeling like they're here to win. The UTEP coach, of course, I think it was more than coach speak. He thought he had a good, solid team and a good, solid plan, and they did, right? The week before we saw them use their speed against Texas. Well, we have a big, strong line. Okay, well, we'll just use speed against you. And they were mobile, and that threw Texas off. So every week it's like everyone's going to see what Texas weaknesses are, and that's what you should do. You should see where can you attack, and if you have the personnel to do it, go for it, right? Do what you can do. It was the exact opposite of what they had against Ohio State, what they had the next week, and then what they're going to have this coming week. It's going to be different each time, but I just worry that this is a time where they should be really building that confidence on off. Defense should have lots of confidence. Special teams should have some confidence. Great kicking and great punting again. But I feel like the offense, I'm worried that they're not going to go into the SEC play with a ton of just firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's absolutely a valid concern. So let's talk about the good. Let's kind of, we'll quickly, this Texas team has given us plenty to scratch our heads about a little bit. They've given us plenty to go, okay, not panicking yet, a little worried, but not panicking. So let's talk about the good. Let's talk about the good here. So
we'll start with Texas football's players of the week. Good players: Gooseby, LaFau, McDonald, Niblett. I have to say, I was very impressed with the growth in Ryan Niblett's returns, kick and punt returns. Huge growth and great spark for the offense, and getting them in great field position. I thought that was a huge improvement from week 1, where he just had to hang on to the ball at Ohio State, and that was the point, right? Now he's attacking. The blocking is good. I don't remember a big penalty bringing something back, which is huge, but there probably was one. I just don't remember. There was one now that I think about it. Anyways, but I'm really impressed with Niblett and how he's willing to do whatever he can to help the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think special teams has been a shining bright spot this year for sure. And I've become that person. I don't know if I've become my dad or if I just am old. I have no idea, but I'm taking notes in game, right, as I'm seeing things. And that was one of the things that, mildly buzzed Megan was saying, man, this is Niblett's he looks great. Like he's out there, he's seeing things well, and he is this close to having some really incredible run backs. So Bo Meester just absolutely killing it. We've seen some just really good stuff out of special teams, which for the past few years hasn't necessarily been a strength for Texas. So that is very encouraging. That's good to see for sure. I wanted to point something out too, Rocky. We've got some good to talk about for sure. Did you see Shaw? Did he jump out to you? Because that was something that I took note. I was like, man, Shaw quietly had a really good game. Again, we know defense is killing it. I mean, Texas, we have a good enough defense on Texas. This is championship level defense for Texas.
For sure.
And yeah, absolutely, I saw Shaw come out. I was like, man, they're calling his name a few times here. Like he broke through for a sack in the second quarter. He's got some good reads. I mean, he had a really good game. So I think he's a guy that, maybe keep an eye on, see what he's got in his tank for the next few games here. I think he can be a really big piece there and be a disruptor.
It's good to see him with January still out. It's good to see him get lots of rotation. Let's look at another name that we have to say good, and I have to give love to James Simon. So we were fortunate enough to interview James Simon last year when he was going into his senior year of high school, his senior season. And what an incredible young man. He comes from a football family, older brother, dad, played in college and coaches college football. And it's really impressive how he's just so smart about the game. And to come in, we know Wisner's been out, Baxter went out quickly. We had Gibson and Clark go, and then we got to see a lot of James Simon, and he was in the rhythm, in the mood. He was making moves, he was making hard hits, he was going into contact strong, he was controlling the ball. We got to see some good stuff from him, and it gives you a little bright light of what the future of the depth of this running back room.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, despite it was a heavy run game at that point. We were handing the ball off to him quite a bit. He ended with 17 carries for 67 yards. I mean, he looked good for a young kid. This kind of gave me those Rojo vibes, right? Those like Trey Wisner vibes, the get in there and do what you got to do for the team. And he's seizing the opportunity. So I will say this, I definitely, despite having some not so great feelings overall after this game, I came back, walked away from this game feeling like, all right, man, we know that running back room is set. We've seen some really good things from Clark. Simon getting out there, getting really valuable playing time. I thought he looked really good, especially for a super young guy. So again, that felt like Texas has options there. Again, we know that we need Wisner back. We want him healthy. We want Baxter back. But I felt better about the running back room and in the state where we're at there for sure. So, and quick note, you guys, thank you, Big Chris. Volleyball took the first set 25-12. So
let's go. Let's go.
Absolutely. So,
all right.
One last thing, I got to bring it up, Rocky. We were texting about this in the game a little bit. CB, you brought it up. So how bad were the boos? How bad were the boos in the stadium? It was noticeable. I tweeted about it. It was
everybody around me, everybody I talked to, all the people around me said, oh, they're booing because we didn't go for it on fourth down against freaking UTEP. So and later people are like, oh, they're booing Arch, whatever. If they want to boo Arch, that's awful, because the same people who are going to be all excited about him later were that fickle. And my biggest thing about the boos is not only does it put him, oh, he should be tough, he should suck it up, whatever. That's a different story. I'm talking about the recruits and the parents of recruits who were in the stands at these games.
No doubt.
Do you want to send your son to go play where their own team is going to boo them?
I mean, to be fair, look, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm not arguing with that. I don't think fans should boo. I wasn't booing. You weren't booing.
No.
We shouldn't. We shouldn't boo. We'll talk about Mac Brown's comments on that here in a little bit. But, at the end of the day, this is the University of Texas. The fans do have high expectations. I know there were plenty of people that were booing specific players. Maybe they were booing Sark. Maybe they were booing not going for it. But you're right. It's frustrating. I think for me, I hate hearing it. I hate the boo birds when they come out against their own team. But I also kind of understand it, right? It's frustrating. I'm not going to do it. I don't think we should do it. I think it's a bad look. but I also kind of get it. Like I get that frustration, and that's a weird place to
Booing
be.
your own team, I don't get it.
Again, I'm not defending it, but I'm saying, like, I understand from a fan perspective being frustrated. We did have high expectations for this year coming in, unrealistically high expectations. Let's be really clear about that. So to feel like we're where we're at, like Rocky, you and I have talked about this. Like after the Ohio State game, didn't feel so bad. After the San Jose State, felt a little worse than I did after Ohio State. After UTEP, I got to say I wasn't happy. I was upset at the end of this game. So
Yeah.
I get it. I get the frustration coming out. There are better ways to express it, no question. But onward and upward, we definitely have one more game to get our shit together. One more game, right? So I definitely think that's something we got to look forward to.
All right. So just remember this Saturday night, there will be a ton of recruits in the stands. This is a big, huge recruiting night. Some commitments, some people who are players who might be committed to other teams. There's word that they might be visiting. So this is a great opportunity to show how wonderful Texas is supportive of their, not blindly supportive, but supportive of their fan base. Oh my goodness. All right. Yeah. So let's talk about this mental struggles, like what's happening. The pressure that Arch is under, of course, he's not the one who rated himself so high or ranked himself so high, but right. He does put himself out in the media. He has all these big,
he's the quarterback at
Corbin Parker and all, all these Waymo and Red Bull and all these, Viore, all these big time deals. So he is out there, lots of hype, lots of expectations, and we've seen him play at such a high level already and make throws and use his body and get into the end zone. We've seen it last year. He was on fire when he did play, when he did come in, because like you and I were talking about on our own, like all the pressure wasn't on him, but now all the pressure is on him. And I wonder, Sark even mentioned that maybe it's mentality, like to focus and this is who Arch needs right now.
I know. I loved it. This was
Dr. Sharon Fieldstone from Ted Lasso.
Ashley Dixon put this as a response.
I had to give her. Yeah.
Heck yeah. No, this is perfect. Look, Rocky, let's talk about this for just a second. Like, I don't want to linger too much, but we do need to talk about it.
Yeah.
There is a lot of pressure, and I'm appreciative that more and more mental health is becoming destigmatized, right? And there's more importance placed on that and staying right in your head, just like you stay right with your body. But I think, honestly, if we're looking at the silver lining, it really does feel like 92% of this team's issues, the offense specifically, the issues on offense are mental, right?
I agree.
We've heard that practices are a little different than what we're seeing in game. That's a hard thing to compete with. We all know the yips that's a nightmare. The yips are tough, man. And it's hard to get over it. You kind of just have to plow through it. You got to get your head straight. You got to figure it out. But yeah, it's not like Arch Manning forgot how to play football. The kid knows what he's doing. He knows how to sling the ball. He knows how to play. He said it himself. Like he thinks it's mostly mental. He thinks it's mostly there. So, and I was kind of cracking up, Rocky, we were talking with Quan earlier, he and I were texting at one point. I said, man, this is why you need more women in sports. This is why because women pick that stuff up. You and I were talking about the vibes of the team. Is their head right? We saw that first out of the gate, very first game, like, are their heads right here? Like, what's going on? And, you can kind of cue in on things. We know our friend Stacey Smith had mentioned, yeah, I could see basketball a few years ago. I knew a guy was having a girl trouble because of the way he was playing. Like those are some insights, right? And it seems silly and it seems trivial, but at the end of the day, that stuff matters. If your head isn't right, your game isn't going to be right. So no, but yeah, Ashley Dixon, that was a great tweet. We definitely need Dr. Sharon Stone. Is it Sharon Stone? What is her name? Dr. Sharon
Fieldstone. Dr. Sharon Fieldstone from Ted Lasso, and she saved the Richmond FC.
The Greyhounds, right?
CB says that Arch popped up on his Roku, and I actually saw that you tweeted that, CB, and I'm going to share it right here. This was your tweet. There he is. Arch Manning is on Team Warby. He's everywhere. Like, I'm sure they were expecting him at this point, when this ad was going to come out, that he would still be the quarterback of a number one team that went into Ohio State and, is handling business and dropping 70 points a game like everyone else seems to be able to do except Texas on other teams. But yeah,
that is
I'm
not
saying
true.
I didn't count it up this week. I'll go count it because I've been tracking. But when 30, 40 teams are getting 40, 50 points or more and handling the small teams they're supposed to, and Texas doesn't,
but not everybody is. Not everybody in the okay, I'm not saying it's not a red flag that Texas can't do better offensively than they have been. Agreed. 1,000% red flag. A flag as big as Texas, no doubt. But to say that Texas is the only
no, I didn't say we're the only.
Everybody else out there is scoring 70 points. Come on.
I said there's a lot of teams out there scoring.
There's like 50, 2.
60. No, there's 40-something teams last week scored 40 or more. 40. Yeah. Texas should be one of those, especially when you're favored by 40. And again, this week, they're favored by 40. All right. So let's see. So Arch is not only like a lot of mental pressure, he's also a lot of physical pressure. So CJ Vogel put this stat out that he is under pressure 36.8% of his dropbacks. That's the highest in the SEC. So even though it feels like we count the time, sometimes you and I'll be like 4 or 5, 6. Like sometimes he has a ton of time, and there are plays where he has a ton of time and he just misses the throw. But he's also under a lot of pressure, and that's something that the O-line needs to help him with.
Yeah, the O-line does. Again, we talked, O-line definitely needs some improvement there. But again, I will also argue, like, we're going back to that mental thing, right? Like, Arch just has to make faster decisions. He's got to see the field a little bit better. Again, this is one of those things that's just it's one thing can snowball into 5 things, and all of a sudden that that grows exponentially. So look, so he's under pressure, that's fine, but then give him permission to run. Like, we've talked a lot, like, we want to see more RPOs. I'd like to see a few more designed run plays, not all of it. I'm not saying run Arch into the ground, but I am saying the kid, he's a big kid, he's a fast kid.
They're doing that more with him.
Right. Let him go out and hit somebody. That gives him a little bit of confidence, right? That's when I think that's when you start to see him get a little bit of that swagger. All of a sudden he's starting to make some of those connections. So again, no, Texas is not going to win consistently if all we're doing is running Arch Manning. That's not what I'm saying.
Look at every other quarterback that's dropping like flies.
Right. But I think, give him some of those easy dink and dunks, right? Give him a few designed run plays where he can just go and go fast. I think that'll help. I do think that'll help. So, we'll see.
All right. So a couple of comments. Missy, you have thoughts on the Nash thing. When I click on the link, I can't actually click as a link. It just clicks into your comment to post. So I can't follow that link. So if you could let me know what the statement said, then maybe we can have a thought about that. Big Chris says Sark is never going to run it up on anyone except Gundy or Tech. I don't know. He was trying to hit 50 against Florida last year, and he had no problem hitting 49-0 against Oklahoma. So I think if he can, he will. Not in a disrespectful, like he's not going to. Yeah, I think it's all gas, no brakes. I'll leave it at that. If you can, it's not someone else's job. It's not our job to stop ourselves from scoring. It's their job to stop us from scoring.
Right.
All right.
Absolutely.
So Megan, let's chat a bit. You posted a great video of Mac Brown today. His comments about, people getting down on Arch right now, but he talked about, and he's told this story before, and it's online if you want to go see it. It's from their podcast. But he talked about how, at one time he was in a game and he came in angry and mad, you're going to lose. And it just brought the team down. And then he learned from that he needs to come in and say, this is about to be the best comeback ever. And, the team came back and had a historic comeback. What did you take from that message that Sark, the coach Mac Brown talked about? This is the time to build them up.
Yeah, but before I jump into that, I do want to point out one of the things, he does tell this story a lot. And every time I kind of forget. So this was when Coach Brown was at OU. I think a lot of people forgot that Coach Brown actually was a coordinator at OU. And he was coaching Troy Aikman, which again, Aikman had to come in super young. Again, all of these things, I just think my burnt orange brain blocks out. But yeah, said he was real hard. Oh, you guys are terrible. You're going to lose this game playing like this, whatever. And he said that Coach Switzer sat him after that and he said, look, these kids look up to you and they listen to you. So if you
Mm-hmm.
tell them that they're going to lose, they listened. And they did, and so that taught him, flash forward, Vince Young was having a rough game. I think it was the Oklahoma State game, he said. And basically, it was just things weren't going their way. It was just one of those games where if it could go wrong, it did, right?
Yep.
And what he learned, he said it always stuck with him. Coach Switzer's words always stuck with him, that at halftime he was fine. It was easy breezy. Hey man, it's all right. We got him. Look, you're coming right back. No big, come on, we got this. We got this. You got him. We're gonna come. And sure enough, it was this huge comeback. Great game. Vince ended up having some kind of crazy record-breaking game. So yeah, I think that it was a timely message. This wasn't this. Coach Brown didn't just say this and put this out there in the ether for no reason. We talked earlier about the fans booing for whatever reason that may be. It's not a good look. And that's what Mac Brown was saying is, look, man, now is the time. It's easy to be excited. It's easy to lift them up when things are going great and they're doing everything right. But now is the time to cheer on the team and show them that you're behind them. Because again, if you want to help that mental side of things, you be positive. You keep it positive. You lift them up until they start believing it too. What's that old saying, Rocky? Whether you believe, what is
If
it?
you
Whether you
believe
believe
you can, or you believe you
or you
can't,
can't,
you're
you're
right.
right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that lends itself. So good note for us as fans. Good reminder
Yes.
for coaches. Good reminder for the players, right? So.
Okay. All right. So let's kind of look ahead now to take all of that and let's look ahead to Sam Houston State. But before we give our preview of Sam Houston State, Megan, why don't you give a shout out to Rockin' Diamond S Ranch?
Absolutely. All right, y'all. So if you were looking for a wonderful place to just go and relax and check out the Texas Hill Country, look no farther than the Rockin' Diamond S Ranch. Nestled on a beautiful 120 acres out in Blanco, Texas, there is so much to do on this property. You can see right there, beautiful ponds. You can go fishing. You can go wildlife watching or hunting. You can play with the longhorns. You can even feed them, y'all. The property sleeps 14 with one primary house and 2 fully furnished cabins. So you can bring the whole family. You going to go to a game with everybody? Bring everyone, y'all. Don't pay those Austin prices. Check it out. It is just 5 minutes from downtown Blanco with the breweries, eateries, shopping, and more. So come on, check it out. It's a wonderful place to stay out here in the Texas Hill Country. Check it out online. It is Rockin', that's no G, RockinDiamondSRanch.com. Or give our good friend Chuck Smith a call at 512-694-1969.
All right. Good job, Megan. Texas Volleyball is up 17-13 in the second set. Let's go, ladies.
All right.
All right, so let's look at a little quick preview of Sam Houston State. First, the biggest news is this is a night game. Megan, night game is back. The weather hasn't been too bad the last couple weeks, considering some days.
Shockingly cool for Texas football in September.
Yes, there's been some days where like people in the stands are, having to get medical care because it's just so hot. This last couple games have not been bad. It's been fine. This next one is a night game, which is a lot of fun. What's your favorite thing about the night game, the atmosphere that CDC and team have brought to DKR night games?
Look, it's people get up for night games, right? We as fans get to sleep in a little bit. We get to watch football all day. We get to spend time getting hyped. And then you go into DKR, and I don't care what you say. Like, I get that the team likes the early games, but man, when you see DKR at night, the lights are going crazy. It's burnt orange. You've got the fireworks going. You get the drone shows.
The drone show.
I'd love these insane drone shows.
I think we're going to see the drone show again.
Me too. There's going to be some crazy stuff. I was telling y'all during baseball season, they did a new feature in a drone show during the A&M series that I think we may see here at DKR, where they actually had so many drones flying close enough that it was acting like a TV. It was like a dot matrix TV, but it was actually playing a scene where you could see, again, this was at Texas baseball, but you could see, you hear over the speakers, you hear the call by Craig Way, and you would see them like swing the bat and the run.
Oh, wow.
I think this is something we may see with the drone show here at DKR. So Get ready for it. It's going to be a crazy atmosphere. I think the fans are going to be hyped. I think, Rocky, am I right? Was it another sold out? Is it another sold out
It
game?
is sold out. It is another sold out game. It is 7 p.m. If you're not in Austin at DKR, it is on ESPN Plus / SEC Plus this weekend. So you can stream it online. Yes, my favorite thing about the night shows is also the drones now, because it is just such an exciting moment so of course, there's nowhere they can do it where everyone's going to see it 100%, because it's going to be up and above someone. I think they should put it on the screen if it's not, because sometimes they don't even put it on the screen, where if you can't see it, you don't see anything. But now, last year they had 2 parts going, one, on the southeast corner, one in the north end. They had 2 different shows going. It was amazing. That's pretty exciting. And we're the only show that does the pyrotechnics with the drone in all of like North America or something. It's crazy. That's exciting. Apparently I know that people, like, you light up your phone and do stuff like that, but there's supposed to be some kind of app that never works, but there's supposed to be some kind of app where you can use your phone too, but nobody can get it to connect at the same time anyway. But that's supposed to be pretty cool. We'll never get it.
Yeah, it is. Look, and they did say, Texas has said, get your flashlights ready, and they had photos of DKR with everybody, with their phone lights on and everything. So should be pretty cool. Should be good to see. It's going to be exciting. And I think I'd be remiss not to mention, like, this is our last home game until November, which is
that's stupid. A good point, Megan.
It's stupid, but it is the last time you have, to see Texas at home before freaking November. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, we have bye week, and then they're at Florida, and then OU, and then they're at Mississippi State or something. Like, it goes on, and they don't come back until like Vanderbilt or something. It's a long time.
Yeah, so we're at Florida. Then the OU game is a road game, and then it's Kentucky, and then Mississippi State. And then
it's a long time. So they're back at DKR. So
it is a long stretch.
So if you can get there, get there. All right,
yeah, definitely. Just real quick, Missy, I do want to address, because you had brought up, thank you so much for sharing. You had said that that Nash had shared this thought, and he said that Arch is ahead of where is frustrated as Texas fans might be, that Arch is actually ahead of the curve, ahead of the offense, and this throws him off and off, throws him off balance. Yeah, look, I think it is fair to say that we all have to support him, right? We've touched on that. I do think we are really critical as fans. The standard is the standard at the University of Texas. We have high expectations. We are really critical as fans. But yeah, if you go back and look at the great quarterbacks at the University of Texas, they all struggle their first years, right? There are growing pains. That is just the nature of football. And it certainly has been expounded, right, within this NIL era and the era of the transfer portal. You've got some guys coming in. You've got, it takes a little bit to mesh as a team, right? So that's something I do think Texas has got to remember. We're not as experienced as we were last year at almost any position.
Everywhere.
Right.
We have a whole new O-line and a new starting quarterback and young receivers who are, most of our team are sophomores, right? Like, it's almost like we have a young team.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I do, we got to grant them some grace. We gotta realize that those preseason expectations were insane, and understand, like, this is football, man. Like, it sucks and it's frustrating, but yeah, we got to let them figure it out. Got to let them get into that rhythm, get into that groove, figure out who they are as a team. Because I will say right now, Texas doesn't have an offensive identity right now.
No.
But they're going to figure that out. More snaps, more time together, more, guys getting healthy. They'll figure that out. They really will. So what better game for them to figure that out than Sam Houston State? Rocky, let's talk a little Bearcat ball, shall we?
All right. So let's talk a little Bearcat. All right. So they are 0-3. They lost to at Western Kentucky. They were one of the teams that played in week 0. They lost to UNLV at home, and then they went to Hawaii and lost to Hawaii in their and they just had a bye week, so they've had a week to rest. The biggest thing to note is their quarterback Hunter Watson that started the team. He accumulated 310 yards passing, and he still leads the team in rushing, even though he hasn't played in a game and a half. So he is their leading rusher and their lead, and led the team throwing. He went out with an injury that some people are saying it was a shoulder injury. But no, I haven't seen anything official, but I just found notes that it was probably a shoulder injury. He's took the bye week and he is back. So they are expecting Hunter Watson to play this week. And it is important to know that he is their leading rusher right now. So he is a dual threat. He hasn't accumulated massive throwing or rushing stats, but he has 100 yards rushing in a game and a half and 310 yards passing in a game and a half. So that's notable that he is a dual threat quarterback that will be another challenge for Texas to maybe a little, lighter version of a Mateer or something like that, where his feet are a threat, where you have, or Lagway, somewhere where you're going to have to be aware of what's happening with him on the move. That's going to be a fun little practice for that. Not
Rocky,
to dismiss his talent, but
what I will say, Rocky, is that I really appreciate about you is you put that positive spin on things, girl. You can shine a turd and make it look delightful.
I'm not going to disrespect every athlete, right?
Right. We shouldn't be. These are athletes. God knows I couldn't do what they do. Right. Look, I'll say that now, but and I'll be as delicate as I can when I say this. Sam Houston State should not present a problem for Texas. Certainly our Texas defense, who is, again, nation leading. We talked about that. I think they're going to eat this game. Right? I think the biggest threat here, and again, this is not meant to be disrespectful to Sam Houston State. It just is what it is. I think the biggest risk for Texas defense in this game is getting complacent. I think it's going to be one of those things where, like, the defense, and again, maybe this is a good practice for that. The defense is going to have to stay focused in a game that they're not going to be challenged by the same level of talent as they will be farther on in the season. Right? Is that a PC way of saying that? So I do, Rocky, we want to talk, what do we need to see from Texas? I want to see focus from the defense through and through. I want to see that special teams continue. Now, we do need to talk about the offense because, to the point, you're right. Like, this Sam Houston State offense is not very good. But if you're just going by box scores and statistics, this Texas offense isn't performing very well either. Now,
no,
again, silver lining time is rough as the Sam Houston State offense is. Their defense is even more rough. All right. So if there is a time for Texas to get their collective shit together on offense, this is the game to do it, right? Rocky, what do you see in there? What do you want to see from the Texas offense here?
Yeah, it's easy to diss on their offense at 22 points a game. Texas is only 24 points a game. So right now, with much higher, with all the 4 and 5 stars and the elite athletes and all this, they're not putting much more points. And it's been against comparable outside of Ohio State, of course.
Yeah,
it's been about a comparable competition to what they've played. So I would just say that this is a game where Texas really needs to get some rhythm. I know there's still going to be questions about, who's playing. Is Mosley back? Are we going to see more back? Like who's in this wide receiver rotation? Who's running the ball this week? Are we still resting Baxter? Is Wisner going to come and get a few carries before we go into SEC play? All those questions are going to be going to determine if Texas comes anywhere close to covering a 40-point spread, right? And we'll make our prediction in just a minute when we make our game predictions. Yeah, and absolutely. Texas Volleyball just won the second set.
Absolutely. That's awesome. 25-17. So again, looks like they're rolling there in TCU. Now, we have seen Texas Volleyball get a little scary in those third sets sometimes, so we're not going to prematurely celebrate.
No, they need to step it up in the third set.
Yeah, Chris, you saying, I'll say it, we should kick their asses. look, I'm glad you put it out there so that the juju is not on me this time. I will say you're right. We absolutely should. I think should is doing a lot of heavy lifting in your statement there. Yes, Texas should roll in this game, even with offensive issues, even with the potential maybe our defense gets a little distracted. I don't know of I can't foresee a scenario that Texas doesn't look dominant in this game. I will say this. If we walk away from this game feeling the same way we felt after UTEP, I'm going to hit the panic button. If Texas is really, really struggling again, I didn't say the thing I wanted to say. Look at me, growth. I'm growing.
Mhm.
If the Texas offense struggles mightily against this Sam Houston State defense, for me, it's time to hit the panic button for the rest of the season. I think that this is the game. It is now or never time, right? Now is the game. Now is the time to really put those pieces together, shake it off, go have fun playing football, man. Stop
Do you
overthinking
think
things.
you're going to really build on great momentum if you beat Sam Houston State by 30?
I think it helps your head.
After what they've already,
Yeah.
what we've seen them put out there.
If Texas goes out and beats the spread here, because you're right, it's 40, maybe 41 right now. If Texas goes out and beats the spread, that to me says, yeah, this team is okay. They figured some things out. And frankly, you're right, Rocky. It's not like you go and you beat Ohio State and they're home by 20 points. Hell yeah, you feel good about that. You hang your hat on that kind of win. I'm not saying that Sam Houston State is going to be that way, but what I will say is this is a game where they can play loose. This is a game they can go out and have fun. Stop. F the expectations. F the pressure, right? Just go out and have a good time. And if Texas offense starts to get some things clicking, even if it's not perfect, even if it's not, excellently executed, you still can walk away from this game going, hell yeah, I feel better. That's good for your head, right? You get a win that you can feel good about under your belt. You get that, all right, shit, I do remember how to play football. I'm not as bad as everybody says, right? That was fun. I had a good time doing that, right? I do think that makes a huge difference for your mentality moving forward, for your mentality going into the SEC play. I do think it makes a big difference, and I'll say that. I think it's important.
All right, let's hear from Arch.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, this is what I've been waiting for. Spent 2 years not playing, so might as well go have some fun, right?
Remember that?
That's it. Go have some fun, man.
Have some fun.
And that's the thing.
They don't look like they're having fun on offense.
Exactly. You see him after the game, and the kid's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. That sucks, right? Like, you get it. You're the quarterback at the University of Texas. You got that last name. But at the end of the day, it's a game. And it's a mental issue with Texas. This isn't, like we said earlier, it's not him forgetting how to play football. So if he can go out there, play loose, have a good time, go out and have some fun playing a football game. Yeah, I think it can make a difference. I really do.
I do too. All right, we'll make our score prediction in a second when we make the picks, but let's kind of look back at the last weekend. And sorry, I have a cough drop because I have I don't know if you missed it earlier, but I have this dry cough that will not leave my throat. And so I'm trying to have a cough drop to keep me from coughing so bad. So sorry I have it in my mouth. So number 12, let's talk about some of the highlight games of last weekend. We watched this game at the tailgate before the Texas game. It was number 12, Clemson going into Georgia Tech. That was an exciting game with Georgia Tech winning that game with that field goal. It was pretty amazing to see that Klubnik and Haynes King had very comparable stats. Team passing stats were pretty comparable between the two teams. But the biggest difference in that game was that the Clemson kicker missed his one field goal opportunity, and Georgia Tech made 3 of 3 field goals. That was the difference in the game, was the kicking. Megan, do we know anything about that?
I'm having a little bit of UTSD flashbacks right now. I'm not loving it, but very much happy for where Texas is this year with their special teams for sure. So yeah, again, I mean, people expected Clemson to be really good this year, and that's an upset. It can happen. It can absolutely happen. So at least
Clemson started as number 1 in some people's polls, and they're dropping. That's now 2 losses. They took that first loss at home to LSU. Now they've fallen to Georgia Tech, which is an ACC game, so that's going to hurt them in their conference standings as they go forward. They still have to play a few big games. USF, let's move there. They were number 18 USF. They went to number 5 Miami. This was a game where USF was on a roll. They had just beaten Florida. They had upset Boise State. They were brought back to reality, Megan, when they had to go play number 5. What was up with Carson Beck on fire?
Look, I will say this: Miami looks good. Again, really that's another one. That's another one that, let's talk about the mental aspect of the game. Carson Beck struggled a little bit last year at Georgia by his standards, by Georgia standards, right? It looks like he's having fun playing football. The kid's playing loose. He's looking good. Miami's a real deal, man. And I don't love that, but it is. Miami's the real deal. So Carson Beck, they're a contender for sure. So yeah, USF, like you mentioned, crashing back down to earth a little bit with that proper butt whooping there.
Carson Beck, 340 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, ran for another, and Miami also happened to rush for 4 more touchdowns. What in the world?
Just by the way.
Yeah. Anyway, Mario Cristobal going into the season was one of those coaches where it was like, show me time, put up or shut up. And he is putting
it up. Yeah.
Just like we have to say, burnt vegetables, Brent Venables at OU.
My word.
He's putting it up right now. All right. So they had an easy game at Temple, but anyway, so let's move on. Georgia, just quickly. Well, that was a drama against 15 Tennessee. That went to overtime. Georgia held on. Combined those 2 teams had 675 yards of passing in that game. So those 2 quarterbacks were going at it, Stockton and Aguilar. I like Aguilar. All right. Florida, USF kicked them out of the top 25, and they went into LSU. That was a horrifically boring game.
That was a tough game, yeah.
Other than all the interceptions, Lagway threw 5 interceptions in that game. And because LSU was also themselves struggling a bit on offense, they punted, they got a field goal. One of those was a pick 6, or else they wouldn't have scored. And then they punted, and then they end the game. So of those 5 opportunities, the 4 opportunities the offense actually had with the ball, 1 resulted in points, field goal points.
So Rocky, I want to ask you real quick before we move on from this game. LSU is maybe the worst number 3 team. I don't know. Like I said, I had picked them to win early. I think LSU, they're hard to predict. They're hard to figure out. That Brian Kelly team is really hard to figure out. But watching this game, LSU 20, Florida 10. Is this a reflection of LSU's ineptitude, or is this potential that Florida could be a problem if they get this 5 interception thing figured out?
I mean, if you give LSU the ball at home at night 5 times, and outside of the pick 6, the offense only gets 1 field goal from that. That should tell you that LSU's really having some struggles moving the ball offensively, or Florida's defense is that good. And we'll find out when we get there.
That's the thing to pay attention to. That's what I'm saying. Florida is one of those teams. I hate to say it, they're not a good team right now, but they've got, being this guy, they've got so much potential, right? They do. If Lagway has
talent all over that roster,
they really do. And if Lagway has a good game, if their defense stiffens up like they did against LSU at LSU, that could be trouble for Texas. So that's definitely something to watch this week.
All right. So the Vanderbilt went to number 11, South Carolina, another team that took 1 loss and got kicked out of the top 25. That they were not buying Lenora Sellers, this team without Lenora Sellers. He went out with an injury, got a head hit and went out for that game. And there was actually a targeting call there. But by that point, they were already down 14-7, and he had already thrown an interception. Vanderbilt was so balanced and so strong. And that Diego Pavia, we know we saw it last year. We saw the fire but what a leader of his team. They forced 4 turnovers of South Carolina, and that was a 16-game losing streak, Megan, to South Carolina.
No,
Wow.
good for them. Look,
they're
Fabio's
exercising some demons, this Vanderbilt team.
they absolutely are. That what is it? The SEC shorts guy comes in with the pimp,
the pimp hat and crown and
everything. Yeah, they're rocking that for sure. So don't overlook Vandy.
Oh, I am not overlooking Vanderbilt at all. But of course, we have to talk about one more game, and then we'll look at the new to how all this shook up the top 25. The Aggies went into Notre Dame, and I think we both picked them to win. We're like, well, they're probably Aggie it up, but you know what? Something says this is their time. What a game, Megan. That was such a good game.
It was. It really was. And it pains my soul to say it. Look, Rocky, you and I talked about this. We grumble about this amongst ourselves, but we got to say it. OU and A&M are better teams than Texas right now. That's not to say it can't change. It's not to say that Texas can't recover, can't get back, doesn't have the talent. Texas absolutely has the talent, but watching that game, and I've been saying this, I'm an Elko believer. I thought he was a good fit for A&M from the get-go. He's building something down in College Station, man. He really is. So Texas fans, hold on to your butts. It's going to be a crazy, crazy season this year watching A&M, but they looked good. They never gave up. They didn't, we make the jokes. Oh, they're going to go full Aggie at some point. They didn't. They held on. They played well. They never were out of it mentally.
That 4th and 11th throw to the corner to get them in a position to win that game was a great play by Marcel Reed. You have to give him. He stood up, rose to the occasion, right? That fumbled, mumbled mess that Notre Dame had in that 2-point conversion where they could have made it where Aggies would have to go for 2 as well. Oh my goodness, what a mess! It was a mess, and that fumbled snap thing, but the Aggies, they went into Notre Dame and they won at night, and that environment on TV at least looked way more hostile than I remember it being when we were there. I don't remember it being hostile at all. That was a much more exciting environment with Marcus Freeman and crew. And now Notre Dame is 0-2.
I mean, not to be an asshole, but it was a better game than Texas
played. Oh, of course. We got run out of that stadium when we were there. Not even going to play. All right, so let's look at how that shook up the top 25. We'll just kind of give a quick look at that. Texas is still number 8. I don't know why. Look at Florida State jumping Texas.
Yeah, look, I can't be mad about it. I'm happy that Texas held on to number 8. I don't know that I would have voted Texas number 8, but
I would put right now
we're winning. We're winning ugly, but we're winning.
I would put ahead of Texas just in that top 12 or 13. Right now, going by impressive resumes and excitement and talent and scoring, I would put the only reason I would not put the Aggies ahead of Texas right now is because our defense is elite and theirs is giving up 40 points, 24 points. They're giving up a lot of points.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's
Texas. That's a fair point. What they gave to UTSA at home, Texas wouldn't do that at home and hasn't done that at home. So I think that's the only difference is they still have some leaky defense that they need to clean up, especially run defense. Texas defense is elite. So that's the only reason I would put them ahead of the Aggies right now.
So Rocky, I want to point this game out. We didn't talk about it, but or do we? We are shortly. This is a good segue, I guess. Then take a look at number 16, number 17. That's a really intriguing matchup for me. Again,
that's a good idea. Let's go ahead and go into the games this week. That's good.
Yeah, we're keeping an eye on Texas Tech. Now we know they spent that oil money, right? They got that one super rich donor that's like, F it, we ball.
Love it. F it, we ball. In every sport too. Men's and women's sports. Yep. We know he invested in
some money. Mm-hmm. And so far, again, I am not a Joey McGuire believer. I don't like the dude. I think he's a little goofy. I'm not convinced that he's a great coach, but I'll tell you.
Runs through Lubbock.
Yeah, everybody run. Yeah, well, that's true. Everybody did run through Lubbock. So, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, look, so far, that's paying off for Texas Tech. So let's talk about it, Rocky. This upcoming game, it's 11 a.m. game. Number 17 Texas Tech at number 16 Utah. Now Utah is only favored by 4.5 at this game. What are your thoughts on this one?
I think the two undefeated teams, you said Utah is favored by 4.5. I think Utah wins, probably 2 to 3 points maybe, but I think that physicality, Utah's just known for their physicality. The 11 a.m. game doesn't really do it for me as far as like massive home field advantage, but going up to that that environment, I think I'm gonna give Utah. I don't think they cover, but they win. I think it's gonna be a lot closer than 4.5.
That's pretty dang close as it is.
It is. I'm talking like a field goal game.
Sure,
I'm going to say Utah hangs out. Like kicks and points every point's going to matter in this kind of game.
Yeah,
I know
agree
Texas
with that.
Tech has been lighting it up, but I think Utah has better defense than that.
Yeah, I will agree with that. Look, this is one of those games that I've been going back and forth on. I can see a world that Texas Tech shows up with a fire under their butts, right? Like no Texas, no OU in the Big 12. Like they're spending some money. They see this as their time to come up and show out. Now, at first I'm saying, okay, Utah, I'll give them that home field advantage. But Rocky, I don't know.
You're going to go with Tech on the road?
I hate myself for this. I do. I hate myself for this, but I'm taking Tech.
What?
I'm taking Texas Tech. I think they've got a fire under their butts for this one. I think, early in that conference play, now at the end of the year, I don't know that I'm picking the same, but yeah, I'm going to take Texas Tech in this one. Oh, God help me. What am I doing? Picking Aggies, picking Tech. What is the world coming to, Rocky?
I don't even know. All right, so let's say another ranked matchup is 22 Auburn at 11 Oklahoma. We know Oklahoma's big win right now is that home win against Michigan. Both teams, again, two undefeated teams, 3-0. And let's see, Auburn has beaten Baylor, Ball State, and South Alabama. So the only even respectable win in there is at Baylor because Baylor's actually playing well now. So what do you think that's enough of a good competition to build them up to prepare to go into Oklahoma? Oklahoma's favored by almost a touchdown, 6.5.
Yeah, I'm taking Oklahoma in this one. I will say this through and through. I don't think Norman is a scary place to play. Not that I would have any personal experience with it. It just doesn't seem, by reports, by conversations I've had, by folks that I know that work there, it's not always the craziest place to play. That being said, yeah, I think OU's fired up. And again, I said this earlier, I'm eating my words with burnt vegetables right now. He's put together a good team this year with Oklahoma, and they're looking dang good. So yeah, I got to take OU in this one.
All right, you like the Nebraska Cornhuskers, right? They have 3 wins. Nothing again to write home about Cincinnati, Akron, and Houston Christian, but they are putting up 50, 60 points in those games. They get to host Michigan. This is a big Big Ten game, right? They're both another game. Well,
that classic Big Ten matchup of Michigan and Nebraska.
A real classic Big Ten match. Well, kind of, sort of. A recently classic. Sorry, Nebraska's 3-0, Michigan's 2-1, and we know that loss. We just talked about it at Oklahoma, but Michigan's coming in 2.5-point favorites at Nebraska. I'll say it. I think Nebraska wins this game.
Same, girl. I'm taking Nebraska on this one. I've got them picked. Look, this is about the time. I like Matt Rule as a coach. I hated that it was at Baylor. I like Matt Rule as a coach. And this is about the time. He's had some time at Nebraska. He's gotten to instill his culture. He's gotten his guys in place. This is about the time you start to see Matt Rule's teams figure things out. So at home, that's a crazy crowd. That's going to be a loud, raucous crowd in Lincoln. I'm taking Nebraska on this one.
Yeah, that's a 2:30 afternoon game, so it should be really nice there. All right, just to mention this game, West Virginia at Kansas, and I only mention this because Kansas is 12.5-point favorites. This is a Big 12 matchup. But the reason I mention that is because Kansas just went toe-to-toe with Missouri, and they blew a huge 21-point lead, something like that. They blew a huge lead at Missouri. That was really heartbreaking. But now South Carolina, coming off their big loss, goes to Missouri coming off their big win. South Carolina, like we said, got booted out of the top 25 after one loss. Missouri's now in the top 25, number 23, ranked 3-0. Do you think that's too much to give Missouri 11.5-point favorites against South Carolina? I think the catch is that Lenora Sellers probably doesn't play in this game.
That's the fair point, right? Like normally, yes, I would say 11 and a half, 12 points. That's a pretty good cushion. But that question with Sellers, I think that's really what's tipping the scales here. So yeah, I mean, I'm taking Missouri in this one. I just don't think South Carolina has much left right now, just being banged up and being a little down in the dumps. So yeah, I think Missouri, especially at home, yeah, I think they take this one.
Coming off that big momentum of that big comeback win at home, and now they're at home again with the fired up crowd, and then of course probably no Lenore Sellers. I think they run away with that. Normally 11 and a half would be too much. So let's say we just want to mention this game. Florida at number 4 Miami. They're up to number 4. Florida getting beat up. We know that we said that they had to go USF, LSU, Miami, and now they get so they're going to Miami this week. Miami 9.5 point favorites. I think that's coverable.
Yeah. Look, again, I'm going to explain myself here. So bear with me as I work through this. 9.5 is definitely coverable. I think they are showing respect for what Florida has. Again, this feels like a potential kind of respectful. 9.5 feels like giving a nod to Florida's potential, but nothing that they fulfilled so far. But I'll say what scares the absolute crap out of me about this game. Again, Rocky, we've talked about this. Miami's going to win this game. They're going to roll in this game. I really do think that. Then Florida. Who does Florida play right after Miami? Do they have a bye week right after this?
Let me double check. I think they have a bye week and we have a bye week, but let me double check right now.
Right. So Florida, if things go that way, right? If Miami stomps them, that in-state rival, Miami stomps them, and Florida State is 1-3, they're going to be mad.
Yes, they have the same bye week we do, the 27th
right.
for them too. Yeah, that's what I thought.
So this game right before, this game being the game before Texas takes on Florida in Gainesville concerns me. It also concerns me that Texas has Oklahoma right after this Florida game. This is why I've always had Florida as a trap game on our schedule. I worry. I don't think Florida's a world beater by any means, but man, this is going to be for Texas. That'll be a mental game. And we know, so again, we got to use the Sam Houston State game, not to put too fine a point on it. Got to use that to get our heads right, because there's a lot of trap potential there.
All right. I agree. I think Miami's going to roll, but it might light a fire under Florida when they have to play us. Michigan State, we'll pick Texas next, but Michigan State is 10 p.m. game. You know that classic Michigan State USC rivalry, Megan? Classic Big Ten rivalry. Michigan State and USC.
So y'all know that I'm a Michigan State person as well. They're my number 2 team because of my family ties and everything.
That's why the only reason we're mentioning this game.
Yeah, look, it is ridiculous that Michigan State is in Eastern. They're in Eastern time. It is ridiculous that Michigan State fans are having to watch their team kick off at 11 p.m. their time. That is effing stupid. I posted about this. I think it is the dumbest. This amongst everything is why the Big Ten is dumb. The way that they've realigned conferences, this is stupid. Now, what I will say is kind of fun about this game, though, Rocky. I do think that Michigan State and USC need to have their own trophy. I've seen this floated out on the internets. It should be a giant wooden horse. No, it should be a giant wooden horse because it's the Spartans trying to go in to
the Trojans.
To the Trojans. This is literally the Trojan horse story, right? With the Spartans going in. So,
yes.
I think having a giant wooden horse, I hope some Michigan State fans make this joke if they travel out there. I hope they show up in wooden horses and pop out of them.
I think you're way overthinking it.
I love it. I love it.
All right. Well, what can we tell from Michigan State schedule? They've beaten Western Michigan, Boston College, and Youngstown State. And they gave up a lot of points. Well, in the last 2 games, they've given up a lot of points. USC has beaten nobody as well. Missouri State, Georgia Southern, and Purdue. So they went all the way across country to play Purdue, and now they're back and they get a home game against Michigan State. I don't know what we can tell from any of those games. All I know is there's no reason USC should be favored by 15.5 in that game, because what have they done any more than what Michigan State has done?
I appreciate your positivity here.
I think Michigan State covers but loses.
Yeah, Michigan State is rebuilding. They are not the brassiest balls of all brassy balled teams right now. So they are in a rebuilding phase. They're kind of figuring out who they are too. So yeah, an 11 p.m. kickoff in their brains. Man, I'll be wearing my green after our game.
No,
but
they're
good
young. They're
Lord.
18, 19, 20 years old. They're just getting ready to go out. Remember when we used to start doing our makeup at 11 p.m.?
Yes,
I
but to
vaguely recall
play
those
a
days.
football game at
I
11 p.m.
know.
is
Well, we would go
insane.
dance in heels all night. It's not the same.
Definitely the same thing.
Not the same. All right. We'll give our score prediction now for Sam Houston State at number 8, Texas. They are 0-3. Texas 2-1. Texas 40.5 point favorites. This game, again, like we said, is on ESPN Plus or SEC Plus. Do you have a score prediction for this game, Megan?
I do. I'm taking Texas. Do I need to say that? Do I need to say I'm taking Texas?
You might have to.
I mean, maybe. Yeah, look, I think Texas does kind of shake it off this game. I'm going to take the Horns 37-3. I think that defense is stiff. I think that field goal happens late. But I don't have Texas to cover this game just because I'm kind of in the prove that you can before I believe that you can phase in covering these games. 40 points is a lot for this Texas team right now. So yeah, 37-3. Texas takes this one. They roll it. They do get some confidence back. They do get some swagger back. They get their heads on maybe just like 4 degrees more correct. That's what I'm taking. Rocky, how about you?
I have 40-13. You're not going to like that. I think we get some offense going, but the way UTEP was able to go down the field at will last week when they wanted to, when they put a drive together, Texas could not stop them, and they ran right down the middle.
Time. Oh,
no,
girl,
it wasn't. It wasn't. It was like the third quarter.
Garbage time with like our third strings in.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was not acceptable. No, a lot of our star players were still out there. I was like, who are they running against? Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to say 40-13 because if they're averaging 22 points a game and we hold them 9 points under their average, I think that's about right. We haven't hit 40 yet. So I'm going to give them, I'm going to say Texas finally hits 40 points. And
but you think that Sam Houston State is going to score more than Ohio State scored against Texas? Yeah. I don't know, girl. Okay. All right.
No, Ohio State scored 14. I'm giving them 13.
Okay. All right.
I'm giving them 2 field goals.
Okay. Yeah. That's okay. That's fair.
I'm going to say they're going to get in field goal range twice, and they're going to score a touchdown. Something's going to happen. I don't know how, but they're going to get. I mean, why not?
All right, Miracle Martinez, Ezzy, I appreciate your prediction here. 35-3. That's a good one there. I appreciate that. Mike D, you have some questions. All right. Do we think that Arch looks for his roommate Livingston too much instead of the other wide receivers, tight ends, running backs? Is that why he's missing open players? No, I don't.
I thought there was 30 minutes where I was saying, where is Livingston? Why haven't we even targeted him? I feel like sometimes he's missing.
No, look,
because now he's getting all the attention and coverage too. Like,
yeah. And that's fair. I think at the beginning of the season, there wasn't the expectation that Livingston was going to play maybe as big a role as he has. Mike, in my opinion, I think Arch, I think it's okay that he goes to Livingston when he does. Like, if that's his blankie, then go to your blankie, man. Like, if you're at this point, and I will say this too, this is a topic that we've talked about in previous episodes. I want to see more physicality from our running backs. Our guys aren't necessarily running super clean routes. They're not they're not physical enough. They're not blocking very well. So if Livingston is the guy that I don't think this is a case of Arch using that comfort zone too much and targeting Livingston just because he's comfortable. I think there is a genuine, like, the route running isn't necessarily there. Arch is still struggling a little bit to see the field. But no, I don't think it's like an intentional, I'm just going to my guy no matter what. I don't think that's the case.
No, I feel like there's points where I feel like we need to see a little more Livingston because he's been so reliable. Injuries, we know he's limited right now, and DeAndre Moore's out. Wingo, I think he's having the same, like Sark said, maybe he's trying too hard or putting a lot of pressure on himself right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when that comes together, when all the pieces come together, it's going to be glorious because there was a lot of expectations from this really talented room. Then you add in, Dalen McCutcheon and, Lockett and French, some of the younger players who've gotten some game time. And then, of course, Spencer Shannon and all these other Nick Townsend, these other tight ends that are in the rotation now and playing a lot. There's things there. Texas wins in 3 sets. All right, good job. All right, let's wrap up, Megan, with just a couple little highlights of the NFL. Dicker the kicker, now the most accurate NFL kicker in history. Congratulations, Dicker the kicker. Did you see Texas Football sent off some really cool packages that are going out to all the Longhorns in the NFL?
Oh no, I didn't. That's cool.
Yeah, here, I'll show you the picture. They put some packages in the mail to their Longhorns and the NFL. Special delivery coming soon. So it's going to be a Texas made is the theme.
Woo.
So Jade Barron's going to wear all that gear because he loves repping Texas gear.
He rocks it. I'll tell you. And I will say this, Rocky. It is fun right now. Man, I forgot what it feels like to
have so many Longhorns in the NFL.
Yeah, like Sundays.
Well, look at your lineup behind you now.
I know it. Like, but Sundays you're kind of relaxing. You're watching your teams, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, look at this Longhorn. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at these Longhorns. There are 7 Longhorns in this game. Look at this.
Yeah, you were messaging me about Makuba when Makuba was playing against Kansas City. He had a game against Kansas City.
Was out for blood.
Quarterback hit, tackle for loss, interception. Like he was on fire. Makuba had a good time against Kansas City. That was great. All right. So let's just give a couple shots. You and I have our favorite teams. I'm a Dallas Tennessee Titans. You're a Detroit Houston. So I will let everybody know Dallas, I think, was the most exciting game of the weekend. One of the most exciting. Back and forth. Dallas fought back. 64-yard field goal from a kicker who was, unemployed last year. And so, he was with the Cowboys last year, but just recently was not even kicking. Decided his wife told him, look at that guy miss that kick. You could miss that kick. You should get out there.
Shout out to the wives, right?
Shout out to the wives.
Keeping it real.
Started kicking balls, and here he is.
You're at least that bad.
If he can miss it, you can miss it. 64 yards to get it to overtime, and then 10 full minutes back and forth. Nobody wanted to score until just a few seconds left. He kicks 46-yard field goal for the win. Congratulations, Dallas Cowboys and kicker Aubrey. And then my Tennessee Titans lost to the Rams, but I feel better when I watch them play, a little bit better each game. That Ham Ward is coming. The pieces are coming. He's learning from his mistakes. And I feel better about where the team is headed, even if they're not off to a great start. And how did your Detroit Lions do?
Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, girl. So listen, rough start for the Lions against Green Bay, right? That wasn't the best showing. A lot of Lions fan having those knee-jerk reactions, but I think they more than made up for it this past weekend. The Detroit Lions whooped the absolute heck out of the Chicago Bears, 52-21, Rocky.
That's a lot.
52-21. Now, I don't know if I've mentioned him on our show before. I know you and I have talked about him, but there is a kid, Tesla.
So and it's like capital T, little e, S, like it's spelled like big letter, little letter.
Yeah, capital T, lowercase e, capital L, capital S. It's real crazy. A couple of A's in there. But let me tell you, this kid, Tesla. So he is from the Detroit area, has always been a Lions fan, and now living out his dream playing for Detroit.
Hometown hero.
I want you guys, if you haven't seen it, y'all have to go look up his very first NFL catch was against Green Bay, but it was this insane one-handed catch out of freaking nowhere for a freaking touchdown. It was bonkers. Dude was bonkers. Guess what, Rocky? Kid did it again. He did it again.
Yes, so, I love it.
It's crazy.
It's amazing when they have all that effort for their home team, right?
It is. I mean, it's just rare. So he's a guy that just is amping up the team. Of course, Amon-Ra St. Brown, a friend of Chip's, clearly. But yeah, he had a great game. Jamo did really well. So, felt like we talked about exercising a few of those demons. It felt like Detroit kind of got that out. Now, again, this was against their former O coordinator, Ben Johnson, who
Right.
took the job at Chicago and might be rethinking that decision recently.
I don't know. I don't know. They're already favored against Dallas this coming week. All right. And then Houston and Tampa Bay. And, we have to recognize game, right? We have to give respect. And I hate saying this. I hate saying it. Mayfield balled out with a couple minutes left, like on one knee, one leg, injured, flipping in the air. 4th and 10, he runs for 15 yards. Like it was, I thought that was respect on the road at Houston for the lead, for the win. Yeah, I'm sorry. I hate to say it because that dude's a douche, but
can I just say what has happened to our show, Rocky? In this episode alone, we have complimented A&M, complimented Texas, and given Baker Mayfield props. What is wrong with us?
You know why? Because we keep it real. Like you at some point you have to admit when other people do things well. Like
no doubt.
I mean, at some point you have to keep it real, right? Not just going to be bitter and act like they're not playing well. Mayfield balled out at Houston, and I hated to see it. Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's just quickly, our games. Thursday night, Miami goes to Buffalo. That's the Thursday night game. Sunday night, again, our teams play at the same time. And it's a bunch of, our whole division is playing. Indianapolis goes to Tennessee. Of course, Indianapolis is favored because my team is never favored to win. Houston goes to Jacksonville, and it's a 1.5-point game. I could see Houston going in there winning that game. I guess they're giving Jacksonville home field advantage. The afternoon game, Dallas goes to Chicago. And even though Chicago just came off that butt kick into your Detroit Lions, and Dallas just put up a ton of points and against New York Giants, Chicago's still favored at home.
Oh, you're cutting out a little bit there, Rocky.
Okay.
Sorry, we didn't catch that last part. Can you repeat that last part?
I say, even though Dallas just put up a ton of points against New York Giants at home, and Chicago just got their butt kicked at home, Chicago is 1.5-point favorite. So that should be a pick'em game pretty much. Monday night is your Detroit Lions, Megan, going to Baltimore. That is going to be a good game.
Mike D, thank you again for the question. Man, I appreciate the Lions love. I sit here and I feel like I'm screaming into the void sometime, but no, I do love Lions. And you're right. It is a huge game for Detroit. It is at Baltimore. Oh man, Baltimore favored in this one, 4.5. I gotta say it. I think my Lions go in and do well. I do. I think my Lions go in and do well.
Go in and win that game.
I do. I think Goff.
Baltimore's so good at home, and on Monday Night Football,
they're
man.
Good. Look, I still choose to believe that coordinator, he got the juice. Ben Johnson was great, and I'm not gonna disparage the dude, but there's some juice on that offensive side too. And I think the Lions found their juju. Like they figured it out. Goff, they just had a bad game against the Packers. They really did. Goff figured it out. He took home a bunch of accolades from that game. I think he was the NFC QB of the week. But Goff's on fire right now, and he's figuring it out. He's doing things really well. He's got so many weapons at his disposal. Their O-line is just dominating. Yeah, I got to take it. Maybe I'm a little too cocky here, but I think my Lions win this one. On the road. That's a big game.
Goff's QBR rating this past weekend was 156.
Yeah.
That is elite level. He's balling. Again, that was against Chicago. That was against Chicago, and we'll see how they do against Dallas. But that's still good. All right. Yeah. Let's wrap it up, Megan. We wanted to not go too late tonight because we have a lot going on, and I'm traveling, and you've got a lot happening still. Thank you, everybody who watched tonight. We wanted to just get our thoughts on the game, look ahead to the weekend. It is, like we said, a big night game at DKR. Make sure you get there before the game to come see Bowling for Soup for free. That's pretty amazing that our university does this for us, gives us great concerts. I'm really excited about this one.
Come back to Texas, baby.
Come back to Texas. Oh, that's just so fun. All right, Megan, we'll wrap up. Thank you for watching. I am Megan. I'm sorry, I'm Rocky.
You are under the water, girl. I love it.
I've been up since 1 a.m.
I appreciate you covering me. Listen, before we sign out though, please do like and subscribe.
Yes.
That helps us keep the lights on, helps us keep things going. We are Fire the Cannon podcast on YouTube, and of course on Instagram and X, we are Fire the Cannon and the #1. Until then, y'all, we appreciate you joining us. I'm Megan.
I'm Rocky.
And we are Fire the Cannon. Hook 'em, y'all.